Hey guys, hope you're well. My name's Luke Pluckrose. I'm the creative director for Saks, and I've been lucky enough for HJ to invite me on one of these talks tonight. So my question is, what is a trend and how you can create one? So when I got asked this question to do this, if I looked at it, and I think I don't really look at trends that much, really. I don't take much notice of them, I don't think. Whether I've created one, I don't believe I have, or do. And where do they come from? So it was quite an insightful question, really, because I thought, I've got to start looking into this, because it's something that doesn't really, I'm not a massive mood board fan, so I'm not really looking at things. And then from my work point of view, from a client point of view and brands that you work with, you get told what to do, really. You don't create looks for them so much. They give you an idea of what they want it to look like. So that way you're not creating trends. I suppose they are following the fashion that's out there at the minute. So I suppose you could say that. And then when I'm just getting together with some creatives and we're just creating work, it's not saying, again, that we just sort of sit there and go, right, let's do a 90s look, what's the plans, and we do our own thing, really. I suppose, again, it's not something I look into. So it was quite a good question for me, and I thought I'm going to sit down for a couple of hours and just give you my opinion of what I think trends are, if they are any, and how to create one, if you can. So I sent a message out to some friends within the industry, not within the industry. I know, electricians, plumbers, just to give their idea of what their idea of a trend is. So the question, the answers I got back was something that's in fashion, something that people are wearing, something people follow, and then obviously I googled it, and the definition is a general direction in which something is developing or changing. And I thought, well, what do I think it is? And for me, it was about what people are wearing, really. Like from a hair point of view, is there a mass load of people wearing something? That then becomes, in my opinion, a trend, because people are having it. I don't think it becomes a trend because Luke Pluckrose says shaving half your head off is a trend. It's not if no one's doing it. And I understand we're in this 3 months kind of sitting at home malarkey, and we're probably all, by the end of 2 months, we might be all be doing a Britney Spears. So my prediction might be coming true, but I'm pretty sure it won't be. So, it's very easy to predict a trend, but it's very hard to make it come true, I think, from my opinion. So I thought, right, let's just break it down into what is a trend and see if I can explain what my opinion of a trend is. So I'd say there's lots of elements where you get trends from, or inspiration from, to create trends. So fashion's one, music's one, celebrity's one, and it'll all fit into, all from that. So fashion and music are quite joined together. I suppose film as well. You could do TV and film with Netflix. That kind of fit. Stuff comes off, like you could talk about Peaky Blinders, I suppose, the hat from Peaky Blinders, the reason why people are all wearing in flat caps now is because of Peaky Blinders, and that's why there's loads of people selling them, because of they're popular. And so that, I suppose, becomes a trend. I suppose, yeah, you could say that's a trend that's happened. I think trends are easy come, easy go, for me. So again, you look at the fashion world, I suppose, I'd say now you're looking at influencers, really. Is probably a trend. I know people say, oh, it's the end of the influencer, but it's not. They're still, like you take someone like Bella Hadid and Kendall Jenner, they're getting the big shows because they have influence on people, massive influence on people, and young people buying products off of them. And I think that's something that I'd always say is, product companies, i.e. colour houses, they have an interest in having a trend because they can sell you a colour. Like if they go on to Pantone colours. The new Pantone colour, making this up, is blue. Oh, by the way, guys, we've made blue colouring. Get blue in, do the blue in. This is me exaggerating, but that's kind of where they're at. So I totally understand the point of why they need trends to happen, because they're trying to sell you something to buy. And again, that comes from influencers into clothing brands, into colour houses, into everything. And then you got music, kind of the Billie Eilishes and Dua Lipas that are really popular in a minute. You know, from a colour point of view, she's got luminous roots, yellow roots. Is that going to be a trend? I can't see many people walking around with luminous roots, but so for me, that ain't a trend. That's just it's like a little micro trend, I suppose. And that what I'm going to talk about a little bit more about micro trends, really. And obviously, then you got the celebrity world, which obviously you got the Kardashians, the Towies and the Made in Chelseas and of the world, and them sort of people. They have big influence on the masses, really. You know, high street fashion. So that kind of brings it up to really. And then it brings me back to depending on age category, you know, from if you go onto your social media on Instagram, you go into insights, you've got people who follow the age categories and stuff. And I thought that was quite interesting, really, when I looked into it. You know, we look at a 15 to 21 year olds, what is their people that inspire them? They follow trends, and you know, who are these people that they're following? And they're like Instagrammers, they're TikTok people now, they're Netflix actors from, I don't know, Stranger Things, places like that, you know, that are very different from my age. I'm 38, so my influences are different to theirs, and people I follow, the music probably I listen to is different to them. So again, there's different micro trends happening in different age groups, which I think that brings me to the point, you can't nail down one trend anymore. There's lots of different micro trends. And I think, you know, if you go up to them age brackets, and that probably comes back into this. Sorry, I've got this thing. It's not like I'm waiting for a call or anything, but it sounds better when I've got this in. So I apologise if it's annoying you. So yeah, the thing that's coming back for me is that if I look at it back into a salon life, and I think that this is something where I'd say the importance of a young hairstylist that I don't know from the 21, say 18, 19, 20, 21, their influences are going to be totally different from their clients, because the clients are generally a little bit older. I think 24 is the average age of a stylist within our industry. So everyone needs to understand who is important within them age groups, from actresses to music to styles. You know, like from a 21-year-old, do you know who Helen Mirren is? You know, because that might be that 55-year-old client that comes in is looking at someone that they look up to, which is like Helen Mirren. If you don't know, you need to know. And that's the importance of knowing your decades, knowing your history of hair, being an expert. You can't say, you know, if you're an expert in hairdressing, or you're a hair expert is what we say, then you need to know all these stuff, and you need to know what a bob was like in the 60s to what a bob was like in the 90s. And I think that will help along the way of helping you create your own stuff, and knowing the history of and people who inspire. So I've got loads of notes. Sorry, I'm just going to waffle on now. So for me, it's a question that I got asked was are they purposely made trends, or are they made through circumstances? And I think for me, it's made from circumstances. And then I thought, well, if I'm saying this, I've got to prove it. And this is where I'm going to try and prove it to you. That it just come through, I think trends just come through, you know, naturally, through natural growth, really. And this is what I'm going to try and explain to you. So, if I look at it, what is a trend within hairdressing? A trend within hairdressing, probably over the last, years and years, a few years now, is colour. Like, colour's the trend, I'd say, within hair, and then you have micro trends that have come off of that. So colour's a big thing in hairdressing, and I would say this is where I pick it up. In 2008, we went into a recession, a big one. Lots of people lost their jobs, a lot less money floating around. So a lot less people going into salons, having their hair coloured, cut, etc, etc, etc. So what happened was, we see a trend in roots coming through. So we had this thing, dip dye was one. In probably 2008, 2009, 2010, dip dyeing was a big thing. And that was because people couldn't afford to have their hair colour, so they grew the roots out. And you're probably looking at that was unthinkable, really. If you started thinking about people having roots, it was a big no-no within, in the past. You just never would have roots. And now roots is everything. So you went from dip dye, and then it moved into ombre, and that's kind of where we go. We, as an industry, we try and move with it. We try and evolve, which is cool. So it went into ombre, and now we're into balayage, and we're still into balayage. I think I don't do colour, but balayage is still the most Googled thing on the internet, or most searched thing on the internet, should I say. So balayage is still king. Then I would say, if I looked at it from a fashion point of view, 2008 ombre, it was a little bit more, obviously a longer root, kind of a little bit more not so expensive looking, because obviously you're growing your roots out, and that kind of grunge look happened. And then obviously we are with ombre, with balayage, which is a lot more expensive looking. Like, hair's a lot more expensive. And I think if you look at fashion now, fashion's a lot more expensive. The big high brands, expensive brands are back. I'd say, hair is more expensive. And I think it's a lot longer, because obviously to have balayage, you need longer hair, not many layers. So from a cutting point of view within our industry, it's died, isn't it? If you just do cutting like I do, styling and cutting's dead, really. Because you're not doing much. You're just probably trimming the ends, putting a long fringe in, and etc. etc. No, not many layers. So a micro trend that's come off of that is styling, and that's for me probably where I've found my niche in that, is that that's all I do now, styling hair, really, long hair. And then off of that, another trend I'd say is you have a look at all the brands of extension companies. There's so many brands of extension companies about now. G Hair, Beauty Works, all that. There's hundreds. There's just hundreds about. So that's obviously because people want thick, healthy, long-looking hair. They want it full. Again, that expensive looking. And again, I just go by what I do. I get asked by clients what I'm doing a lot of. It's big, voluminous hair, expensive looking. So yeah, that's come off of that, really, which I'm grateful for, because that's where I get most of my work from now. Then something that I started noticing, and probably over the last couple of years, I'd say, when I start looking right into it, is it's been a bit of a bonus for, even though I said cuttings die, like at the back of the queue, there's been a big, massive thing on education from hairdressers going into education, because I think what's happening is they're getting, if you look at the type of education they're going into, it's probably not what they're doing a lot of in the salon. So it's not really, I don't know whether it's what they're going to learn, or they're going to get what they can't get within the salon. So, for me, when I was looking at this, I was looking at my mate, Ben Brown, and he, the last few years, he has grown his education thing massively. And I look at what he does, and he's doing kind of strong geometric shapes, real fundamental classics, just clean haircuts. And that's what he's doing. But you're probably not seeing a lot of that in the salon, I suppose, depending where you work, and there's always that small minority of people that come in for that. But it's not masses, So I think you've seen people driving into that because that's what they want. That's what they got into cutting for, and they're not getting it from the salon or from the client. So they're going into, big, they're going into big education quite big, which is brilliant for our industry, because it raises the game, and everyone's cool with that. But then obviously that comes into what I keep talking about, trends and micro trends within trends again. And I'd say, we all say we're experts in something, and that's cool. And I'll take it, like, if you look at it from a colour point of view, you're now an expert in balayage within your salon, or you're an expert in bleeding, or whatever it's called. I don't do colour again, like I say. But you become an expert in a small little field within colour. You are the colour expert within your salon. And again, that happens within styling. You become a session stylist, or whatever you want to call it, and you're either going to go down the commercial route, or you're either going to go down the fashion route. you don't really cross over. It'll be one or the other. And then the same with cutting. We all still do it. I take Ben Brown for instance. He still cuts long hair, but he doesn't. If you look on his social media, he doesn't look like he does, because he's selling that kind of strong geometric shapes, that kind of hairdressing. So people are going to him because they feel he's an expert in that field. It's a bit like me. I'll probably get contacted now to do styling because that's what I do. I wouldn't get booked to do a cutting course. I'd probably get booked to do a styling course. So for me, this is where we all, or hairdressers, we all still do everything, but you become like little experts in your field, which again is like a little micro trend happening. So we're moving on. So this brings us on to micro trends and just my little brief introduction of micro trends. So the last trend I can remember, which everyone has or had and was asking for, was either the Victoria Beckham, the Pob, or you had the Rachel from Friends, kind of that feathered look. They were the, back in the day, that people did, and you have a look, probably social media weren't about then really, so that kind of world of, it was probably the start of the Pob thing, but it weren't big really at the time. So you did just follow one trend. If there was a trend, you asked for that. There wasn't loads about. And, living in this kind of micro trend thing that I'm talking about, it's easy come, easy go. And if you look at it from the internet world, like on the fashion world, you've got high street fashion, it's quite throwaway fashion. And then even now, you've got online fashion, which is definitely throwaway fashion. You get a dress, you wear it once, you throw it away, or you keep it in the wardrobe, because it's affordable and you can. And again, I think that then filters down into, with hairdressing perhaps, there's nothing specific, it's just do what you want to do, and that's cool, and I think that's great. And the only way I can describe that is from a location point of view. And this sounds weird, but from a location point of view, I live near Brentwood, which is Towie land, the only way is Essex. People, when they go out, they get dressed up, very glamorous. And then 30 minutes down the road, you've got Shoreditch, which is East London, where all the trendy people live apparently. And it's a cool place. Half hour up the road and it is totally different. The people, what they wear, how they dress is totally different. And that is, if you ask people from Brentwood, about people from Shoreditch, they think they're cool, and then you think the people from Shoreditch, you ask them about people from Brentwood and they say, oh, they're not cool, we're cool. So again, it's that kind of, it depends on where you're in. And I think you can take that into fashion, you can take that into music as well. When I was growing up, I was into jungle, and then it went into drum and bass, and then from drum and bass it went to garage, and then from garage it went to grime, and then from grime it's gone into the other one that no one likes you to talk about. But so there's 5 or 6 different music genres within that one trend really, and I suppose you could say the same about house music. You can go off and there's loads of little micro trends within that, and it's the same with hair really. I suppose it's the same with what we're talking about, people being specialists within their area that they're in. Again, someone that's into heavy metal music, the way they wear their clothes, the way they wear their hair is very different to someone that goes to Ibiza every year and is in the house scene. It's totally different. So again, there's no right or wrong on what is the trend. I think there's just lots of it. I look back at my mum and she used to say, oh, we used to listen to one type of music. Like, it was just the charts, that was it. And you look at the chart music now and it's like country chart, dance chart, normal chart, American chart. There's charts everywhere. So it brings us back into, they're all micro, it's all music, but it's just different trends in them worlds, and everyone thinks their trend is the greatest or the best. So again, and then that goes into fashion, etc, etc, etc. And I think that this all boils down to probably social media and the internet has changed the world for that really. And I think it's for the good. You can do whatever you want. I don't believe there is a trend, a one trend. There's just loads of them, and find what one you like and go with it. So and then we had, how can you create one is a question. So how can you create one? And I'm not sure you can, if I'm being honest. You can perhaps, just keep, I think just do good work, and hopefully something you might get picked up and it might work. But then there'll always be someone that says they done it first, and I don't think that you can say I done this first. You know, show me the first person who done balayage. I'm sure someone will say they done it first, and then someone else go, no, they didn't. I've done it before them. You're never going to prove it. So I'm not sure whether it's even in an interest to do one. Just do good work and hopefully it'll come off. But I mean, if I was going to try and not prove something, but my own experience of a trend of a celebrity, say, that we spoke about before that, and the influence they have on trends, I would say I can give you my experience of it. So I was lucky enough, about 2 months ago, I'd done Kim Kardashian's hair. Just quickly, we sat down, she picked up her phone, she went through my Instagram and said, I want that picture. I'd like my hair done that, which was crimped, sleek at the thing, crimped. So we done it, left. About 15 hours later, I'll get these magazines from America, from UK, saying, oh, can we have why did you pick this? What was it? And to be honest, how do you say, well, she just turned up, she said she liked this picture, she wanted to look a bit different, and that's it. That don't sell a trend, does it? So really, I wasn't very good, I don't think. So they ended up writing, and about 24 hours later, it come out, Kim Kardashian starts a new crimping trend, and the guy to do it is Pluckrose. And you're just like, and then I got bombarded with brands sending me stuff, other companies wanting me to do hair for them, and and you think, was it a trend? No. Was it just someone had to write a story about a trend? Yes, I think it was. Did I see any trend from that? Well, yeah, I suppose you could say I did. Probably a micro trend within, a couple of weeks. You get tagged into loads of people that are doing that look, and then Pretty Little Things done it for their campaign. So I suppose, was it a trend? No, I don't believe it was. Was it a micro trend? Probably for about a month with certain people. That's it. I wouldn't say I'm sitting here saying I'm the crimping expert and the trend of crimping, because I don't see it happening. So until I see loads of people walking around with crimped hair and Babyliss ringing me up, or whoever, the best crimpers in the world, saying we've had a massive influx of crimpers, then no, I don't believe there's been a trend of that. So I think it takes me back to how you create one. I'd say my advice to anyone is just do good hair and good things will come of it. And if it comes off as a trend, then cool. If it don't, you've done good hair, you're getting clients booking you, your salon's busy, brands are booking you for jobs, and that's cool. That's all it needs to do. So for me, hopefully, that's my opinion on trends, really. Hopefully, it's been insightful for you. And all I can say is stay safe, and hopefully see you guys soon. So take care. Thank you for watching. Bye.